After 10 years, the DCEU is officially over with the worldwide release of Aquaman 2. Some people probably think it should have ended earlier than this. Some people probably think it should have gone on and on and on, albeit with different people in charge. But here we are, and it looks like it's ending on a disastrous note. Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom, is looking to be a massive failure for Warner Brothers on a global scale. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom opening weekend box office tracking to be worse than Marvel's biggest bomb. And the projections just continue to go down and down and down for this movie. As we look right now, most people have it projected to open somewhere between $30 and $40 million in the 4-day Christmas weekend. So you're talking about your normal 3-day weekend, including Thursday previews, and on Monday with Christmas Day, which is usually a massive day for theaters. This is a pathetic failure, even worse than the Marvel's $46 million it opened to on a traditional weekend. And to make things worse, we're now finding out why the reviews were embargoed for so long, up until the day of release. Once we heard that, we had a feeling that Warner Brothers knew people were not going to like this movie. And so far, when it comes to the critics, they are bashing this thing. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom debuts with a 36% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, it has since gone up a little bit, up to 39%. And, it's not like the first one was some, critical darling. The first one was probably around a 60% score, so okay. Nothing to, necessarily write home about. But obviously, the first one made $1 billion, received pretty well by the audience, had great legs, despite a decent opening. It went on to have incredible legs, especially in China, where it made nearly $300 million. Those things are not happening this time around. In fact, as bad as things are domestically, expected to have this miserable opening weekend, you could argue in some places around the world, it's even worse. Here in the United States, you've seen theaters have way more faith in Wonka than they do in Aquaman 2. Wonka is hanging on to over 4,000 theaters in its second weekend, whereas Aquaman 2 is debuting to around 3,700. That's a low all-time for these big tentpole DCEU releases. And over in Europe, take a look at this. If anyone told you 3 weeks ago that Wonka would actually trouble Aquaman even overseas, no one would have believed you, but it's happening especially in Europe. In Italy's box office, Wonka's second weekend beat Aquaman 2's terrible Wednesday opening day. The DCEU sequel took just 22,000 moviegoers to the theaters. In France, Wonka's just barely behind Aquaman, which also had a disappointing opening. And what we're hearing from the reviews is that it's just a mess. Like the entire movie is a mess. It's an editing mess. The CGI looks like shit. However, some people are saying at least you're not going to be bored. It's kind of a fun movie if you turn your brain off. It's really stupid and dumb, but there's really not a great story. But maybe if you like a bunch of action going on all the time, you might have some fun with it. Some people are saying they think it's better than The Flash, but not by much. And of course, there's the Amber Heard problem. You've got people that are very upset that Amber Heard is she actually has a major role in this movie because they tried to hide her as much as they could from the market. We talked about this for months in the lead up to Aquaman 2, that Amber Heard, it looked like they were trying to hide her. They were barely showing Mira at all. And now people go to the theaters like, wow, she's actually a big part of this thing. Probably strategic on Warner Brothers' part, because if people had known what a big role she played, they probably wouldn't have gone, but it doesn't make, the internet's anger at her any less. She is despised. People hate her. And now we're seeing that whether it comes to critics, whether we're talking about the first couple people that are going to this movie, the fans that are responding to it as we speak in real time before this audience score actually opens up, it does not sound great right now for Aquaman 2. And it looks like the DCEU, after a decade, is going to end on a whimper. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.